Welcome back to a brand new video of our Portuguese barn renovation series.
I'd like to say a big thank you to Simply Safe who have sponsored today's video. They're currently having the best sale of the year and we'll be talking more about that later.
It's a beautiful autumn's day here in Portugal and these are the days that we love so much. The temperature is literally perfect. We've got the summer out the way and now we're ready to get down and do some work.
We're the indie project, Bee and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn it into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cat, Ginjey Bear. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home.
So as you will have seen from the title of today's video, we've got something we're going to have to talk about that I would rather not, but we're going to have to address it because they've been such a big part of the barn conversion, and that is the fact that our builders have quit, leaving us with an unfinished roof. On
Friday the 13th, they decided to walk away from the project, leaving us with an unfinished roof in the Portuguese rainy season.
And that's not ideal, obviously, and we did start the roof way back in August hoping that it would be done by now. We were told it would be done by now. In fact, I even remember them saying you'd be in the barn by Christmas.
We have a written email saying that it's going to take 10 days to complete the roof, and at this point we'd paid them 7,000 euros more than they said it was going to cost. And you can understand why we're stressed. You can understand why we had a pain in our chest for the last few weeks and felt incredibly mugged off, to be honest.
Yeah, mugged off is definitely the phrase, and I know people are going to be like, well, why didn't you just say something to them? Why didn't you try and hurry them along? Believe me, we did have conversations, we did try and communicate, but they knew that we were getting a little bit stressed with how the project was running over, and they could not. They literally said they couldn't give us a time frame, so it was really hard.
It's really hard to find skilled builders at the moment in Portugal, and they said all the right things at the start. They said that they could do this project, they could do it on time, and they had the skills to complete the project. And you know, the more that the project went on, the more we unraveled and the more that we found out that this actually wasn't the case. And you know, it's our home. We're spending our life savings on this project to get a home that we want to be comfortable in, and you know, we're already way over budget. It's scary, it's really scary. And you know, communication was like talking to a brick wall. There was no sorries, it was never their problem. It was always, it takes as long as it takes. You know, we talk about timescales. You know, we're 20 days over just on the roof. We're 7,000 euros over just on the roof, and all we'd get back is it takes as long as it takes, and you know, you're getting a good job, so the money doesn't matter.
I'm just going to take you down to the barn and show you what we've been left with and what we're going to have to work through, and also obviously talk a little bit more about what is going on.
As you guys know, I've worked day in, day out with these builders. I've run around like a headless chicken to make their life easier. Looking back as a client, being involved in the project and seeing some of the things I saw and some of the things I heard about myself, things I shouldn't have heard, it's not good, so I wouldn't recommend it. You either leave the builders to do what they do, or you do it yourself. Their stonework and their woodwork was really good. I can't knock that at all. But when it came to the ridge system that they told us that we should install, and we agreed to, because it's a breathable system, it's better than using mortar. As you can see here, the ridge beam has been installed too high, making the ridge tiles unsecure. The smaller horizontal tiles do not fit into the required area due to the tiles being cut. This makes for a very unsightly finish and something we weren't prepared to compromise on. The big gap left by the ridge tiles is dangerous and moved all the way across as there was nothing to support them. So one of the major flaws was the fact that the builders didn't know that this small tile existed and was part of the system. I had to drive 2-hour round trip to go and speak to people and find a company that makes this system and work out the missing part, and I found this tile. And if they had knew about this tile and researched the system that they were installing before they installed it, we wouldn't be in this position. But basically the problem is the way they installed it, the ridge tile didn't end on a full tile. So that slots in there really nicely because these tiles, the way they're installed, they get narrower the further they get down. What they've done is they've cut half a tile at the top. So instead of measuring from the back of the wall all the way up to the ridge and working out to end on a full tile so this system fits perfectly, it's now like that, and they just don't fit at all. No. Which is, it's a pain because I really like the way that this system looks. It's kind of like a really pretty tile once it's all finished properly, but I think we're gonna just have to get rid of this and find a workaround to do it another way. Otherwise you'd have to take all the tiles off the roof and start from scratch, which, to be honest, is not an option.
There's obviously things that can't be avoided as well, and that is the fact that we filmed everything that was going on in the build, and every week we would have comments from people saying, why is it taking so long? Why are the tiles taking 2 weeks or however long it took? And the fact of the matter is, they would turn up late, they would leave early, and they loved having picnics. That's what me and Theo refer to them as. They'd work for an hour, they'd have a half an hour picnic, they'd go back to work, they'd spend 10 minutes rolling some fags, and then they'd go back to work for a little bit, have another picnic, leave their crap all over the place, and then tootle off early even though they got here late. So it was things like that. We never bothered to address that in videos because, I mean, the work ethic speaks for itself, but that's just another little thing that caused an issue.
Okay, so at the back of the house there's a few other issues that they've left us with, and one of them being, remember when I said the tiles overhang by maybe half a tile? They've not done that. They've installed it so it barely overhangs whatsoever. I don't know how easy you can see if I come up the ladder. One second. So up the ladder you can see this will be the finished wall. There's barely enough tile hanging over, and I need to fit guttering in there. So that's going to be fun to figure out how to do it. I think I've come up with a workaround and I can make it work, but it's not ideal. Another problem that we're faced with, and I actually, spoke to them about it at the time, and my concerns were the Tyvek. This Tyvek, I noticed, should always have a clear runoff, so it should be coming out here over the piece of wood and it should fold into the gutter, so you've always got a clean runoff of any water that gets through the tiles or condensation that can cleanly go into your gutter. Where they've blocked it up now with a piece of wood, and then this is going to be stone all the way along here on top of the Tyvek, blocking any moisture and just allowing it to build up and sink into your walls. So I need to get to the bottom of that. I think the way I'm going to get to the bottom of that is when I build the stone up here, I'm going to have to allow some drain holes for any liquid just to come out. But it's just another schoolboy error, and they just fob me off saying, oh, it's fine, it's not a problem. But actually it's not okay. It's lots of little simple things like that can be avoided if you can think one step ahead of what you're doing. One of the things I thought was a little bit bizarre was turning up to a project of this size without the necessary equipment to complete the project. The amount of times they had to call on us and use all of our tools was just bizarre to me. If I turned up on a film shoot without a lens and asked the client to borrow lenses, that would be really odd to me, but that's exactly what happened here. The Velux windows, I'm not even going to go into that. I don't know what they've done there. I'm going to have to get someone in to rectify that situation. What else have we got? There's something that really doesn't sit well with me at all, and this is one of the last points, and this was using our money that we had given them to buy supplies for one of their other clients. That is sketchy to me, and I think now if you want a job doing properly, we're going to have to do it ourselves, and that is exactly what we're going to do. And I hope you guys are going to be excited to follow along and see how we get on finishing this project ourselves.
And as Theo said earlier, it's hard finding skilled builders at the moment because we're literally in a lockdown during a pandemic, all of the good builders already taken up, so we are left in a situation where we don't have any builders and we're gonna have to do it ourselves. And we're fully prepared and ready now. Check it out. We've even got our own scaffolding, which we're definitely going to be needing as we've got to get so high up onto that roof. Theo's just demonstrating it very nicely there. Well done. I think it's safe to say that we're now full swing in the holiday season, which is why today's sponsor, Simply Safe, have got their best deal of the year currently going on. It's 30% off and a free HD camera with all new system purchases. Simply Safe is an effective and reliable security system you can order online or on the phone and get it delivered straight to your house. Once you've got it at home, you can install it in less than an hour and you have immediate protection. It's a professional 24/7 security system which will alert the authorities if anything should happen. They've got sensors to cover every window, door and room with great extras such as temperature sensors and HD cameras. For just 50 cents a day with no contract, you'll have around-the-clock protection. Unfortunately for us, we have got first-hand experience with a home break-in, and that happened with our van in 2014 when we were travelling around Europe. It was just before Christmas. They ransacked our van, stole pretty much anything they could get their hands on, including our Christmas presents, so it was devastating and has made us super aware of home security, and it's something that is at the forefront of our mind with our barn conversion. So if you want to try out Simply Safe, get 30% off your system and a free HD camera, just head to simplysafe.com/theindieprojects or click the link in our description. Oh, that was the smoothest you've done! Anyone would think this is the first take.
We had another stone delivery yesterday and we got some absolutely massive boulders included, which is going to be really good for landscaping around the barn and also my stone fire pit that I really want to build. But we do have quite a bit of stone work to do, so the majority of this stone is going to be used to build up the gables and up the front wall and the back wall up to the tiles so that we can finish the walls basically.
And another delivery we got
another delivery yesterday which I forgot all about, but this thing is legendary.
This is more exciting than stone.
This is more exciting than stone. Let's go and have a look.
Infinitely more exciting than a stone delivery is our wood burner. After many months, it's finally here.
Yes, I am sitting on the toilet and I'm about to do the grand reveal of our wood burner. You ready? It's gorgeous.
It's a Jotl.
This is a Norwegian brand. It's a Jotl 602 Eco. It's a beautiful stove, and this has a lot of sentimental value to us because I don't know if you guys remember, but if you've been around on our channel for a long time,
5 years to be precise.
5 years ago we did a hike called the Kungsleden in Sweden, which is a 440-kilometer hike through Arctic Sweden, through the mountains, in the middle of nowhere. It's the last remaining wilderness in Europe.
The largest remaining wilderness.
Largest remaining wilderness.
Huge.
It's amazing, and we had the best times of our life on that trail. And every night, when there was a cabin, we would tuck up around the same wood burner as this.
We would light up the Jotl.
This brings back so many fun memories, and we're going to have our own in our barn, which is just going to be incredible. It's just so nice.
I love this little lattice work. Is that what it's called, a lattice?
I'm not sure, but imagine the fire coming through there.
Stunning.
And it's going to frame it really nicely.
And there's a little cook plate on the top. We will obviously do a full-on tour of it when it's installed.
I'm up on the roof ready to sort out the mess that we've been left by the previous builders, but we had a lovely couple this morning come over and give us the confidence and make sure that we were on the right track, called Nick and Angie. So thank you so much, guys. They're subscribers of ours and just happened to live fairly near us, so that was really good luck. And what I'm going to do first is I need to take all of this off so that I can level out the ridge beam, because the ridge beam is not level. It's not at the right height this side, so I need to sort all that out. And then we've actually brought some new tiles to go on the top, and we prefer the tiles. They're a bit bigger and they just look nicer. I've removed all of the mastic and just checking that all of the battens are level now. About 3/4 of them are. The last bit just seems to go ooh, like a skate ramp, so I'm going to sort that out now. I'm just chopping one batten down and then I can figure out where the brackets go so that everything's nice and straight again.
And I'm his wonderful assistant, passing him all the bits and bobs that he needs. And just clinging on for dear life really, because it's got really windy today.
Instead of joining the battens on one bracket so that they fit together nice and smoothly, what they've done is they've just done it in the middle of thin air and then screwed through each batten. But what that's done is it's lifted up the last batten and created it to go upwards. So what I'm going to do is move these brackets down lower and make sure it's all perfectly level again, but it shouldn't take too long, hopefully. So now I'm just dusting off all the tiles where the mastic's going to go so that it sticks nicely, and then we're ready to apply it. So we've just done 3/4 of the breathable membrane on the ridge, and now we've come to a join, and what we're going to do is overlap it by about 10 centimeters so there's a good enough coverage so no water can get up underneath the join. And basically we just roll this out all the way to the end of the ridge and then staple it down. Okay, so just staple it down on the join.
Hallelujah!
And move along.
I've had to go the barefoot method whilst on the roof, like a true rock climber, because it gives a fantastic grip.
So what we've been doing is just peeling a bit off at a time, and then you start on the curved section and then work your way down to the flat bit of the tile. And we bought this little roller yesterday, which is really useful, just getting in all the gaps and the edges, make sure it's nice and secure. It's mastic, so it blends and molds to how you want it, which is really good. I'm just cutting the end of this fabric off, but I'm going to leave a good amount so that I can trim it up the middle and then fold it up under the last ridge tile, so it's nothing's getting in there.
Let's cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Come on, Betty, you did it before I had the camera on.
So all I'm doing now is pre-drilling with a 4mm masonry bit through the holes that are already there. They're sealed up at the moment to give you the chance to open them up so that you can fasten them down nice and secure on the ridge and it won't be flapping about like before. And I'm excited to get it finished because that means we pretty much should be sealed on the roof then. Rain could come in the sides, but we've got the Tyvek protecting that. We should be okay, and then we can start to build up the walls.
Do you like the taste of my feet? Crazy cat. You are utterly crazy. Look at you. So Theo's just on the roof now, attaching the ridge tiles. As you can see, I think he's got about 5 or 6 on there, and they're looking really nice because he's already pre-drilled the holes in the tiles. It's just a case of lining them up and screwing them down so they're not going to be going anywhere. I really like the look of them now.
The last tile going on!
Woohoo!
Yes! feel so relieved that that is done. It looks way better, but the main thing is it's so sturdy now. It's not rocking around all over the place, so the wind shouldn't be able to just come under and take it off.
Yeah, it looks lovely from here. Just from every angle, it's just gorgeous.
It is nice, and also it's a lot more watertight. So because the ridge is on now, that means the roof is pretty much watertight unless the rain's coming sideways and can get in where the stonework's not being finished. But that's our next job, is to start building up the gables and sorting out some of the drainage, so when it does rain, we're all good.
I've got to say, I'm really happy that we decided to fix it ourselves by taking off the old stuff, readjusting the ridge, putting the new membrane on, and swapping out the tiles so it all just fits really nicely. And now it just looks really lovely, and it's really starting to look like a home. Anyone who's an original Indie Projects knows that Theo loves a Diet Coke.
A cold Diet Coke after you've done some work is just glorious. I think I'm going to sit on that stone right behind you and just admire my ridge. That sounds right, doesn't it? I hope you guys enjoyed that slightly unusual video, but we're feeling super positive. The vibe on the land has been restored. It feels like how it used to be. Me and Bee have just been for a walk and we've not done that for so long. Everything feels like it's kind of back to normal, and now we can just crack on and get this build going again, and we can finish what we've started and build the most beautiful home we can possibly build. So thank you to everyone who's been in the comments, in the community posts. Thanks to everyone on Instagram for sending us messages, and also a big special thanks to all of our Patreons who have just sent us messages of support and really given us, you know, that drive and the belief that we can do this ourselves. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.